welcome back to another episode of Minority Reportz podcast and digital series. I am your host, Mona Shaikh. You guys, I was off yesterday because I was doing something awesome. Because I got very lucky during the pandemic and I landed an awesome role in drum rolls, please, in a show called The Rookie on ABC. Ta-da! I can't, of course, tell you the details, but I play Donna Bossi, which is a really great fun. It was a really great. I don't know if I would say fun, but it was a great character for sure. And yesterday, while I was on set, I met a wonderful co-star of mine who I work with, and he's a fellow brownie, and I want to talk to him, and I was just like, man, he would make such a great guest. So I was just like, I'm gonna just bring him on to the podcast today. So here we are. You've seen him in Westworld, you've seen him on Criminal Minds, and of course, you're going to see him in The Rookie with me. Here's my very talented friend, Antonio Leon. How are you?
Hi. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for doing this on a super duper short notice.
No worries. And you got to tell your viewers how amazing of a job you did on this show yesterday. Literally, like, we're just sitting there talking the entire day. And we're just talking about this and that, and then an emotional scene, which they will see at one point, comes, and you bring it, and you just saw my face go like, oh, "I'm sorry, what? Oh, we're doing. Oh, she's okay. All right. I didn't know we're gonna bring it like that. I thought, okay. So,
hey, man.
Props to you.
Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Yeah. It has been a pleasure working with you yesterday, and I honestly. I just love, like, because I felt like, oh my God, this guy's like done way more stuff than I have. And I was like, oh, he's just gonna go and just nail everything. And I'm just like, I don't want to like fuck it up. And I don't want to be like that person who doesn't know what's happening. So thank you for your kind words.
Yeah, you killed it. I mean, you're a true pro. Honestly, I've worked with plenty of people, and you were just the definition of a pro, which is great. It's not something that can be taught. So great. Good on you.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Right I appreciate
that. Thank you. You know, Antonio, before, of course, I came on set, and I think you and I were talking about this. My brother, I told him that I landed the job, and then he was like, oh, who's the dude playing, your husband? And I was like, oh, it's this actor named Antonio Leon. And then he looked you up. And then he was just like, oh, yeah. He's like, yo, he looks like one of our cousins. And I was like, yeah, doesn't he?
Yeah, you were saying.
Yeah, it was like he could easily be Pakistani. And I was like, I know. Right. And then when I met you, and I was like, oh, yeah, you could easily be one of my cousins for sure. Are you comfortable with telling, like, your background and just kind of talking about it?
Yeah, of course. I'm Persian. I was born in Iran, Tehran. My mother is Persian, she's Mongolian, and my dad is Persian as well, and he has some other things in the back as far as whatever, but true and pride, it's the Persian life.
It's the Persian life. Yeah, and my brother was just like, I think his name is Ali Tehrani, and I was like, nah, dude, I think that's a character he plays. I think he's like Italian or Latino. I can't tell, right?
No, yeah, I was my given name was Ali Tehrani, and then when I first started in this business a while ago, like I was telling you yesterday, unfortunately, like it is now, we've been lucky enough to have such more evolved people and writers and producers and directors to be able to show the different sides of ethnicities and people and where they come from, where they're at. Whereas back in the day, it was like, all right, we need a brown person. And most of the jobs were just like strap a bomb and be like, la, 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 that kind of shitty, stereotypical.
Yeah.
So when I first started, it was very tough. So I chose to change my name, not only just for that, but for other reasons as well. And then suddenly the whole thing opened up to me. Yeah. And I was able to be lucky enough to do a lot more, not just Latin, Spanish, Middle Eastern, Argentinian, Cuban, whatever, for some reason. And it says a lot about, Hollywood at that time, where it was okay to cast someone named Antonio for many different things, but it was a lot harder for us as Middle Easterns to kind of get in there. It's again, it's been night and day from what it is,
Right.
what it was 10 years ago to what it is now.
I mean, did you start acting 10 years ago, or were you like kind of studying acting for a little bit and then got, started booking jobs and stuff?
So I started my first gig ever. I kind of just fell into it. I'll tell you the story really quick. I had to take an elective in college and theater. I never wanted to, but theater kind.
What college is this?
I went to the prestigious junior college at Pierce, UC Pierce,
Okay.
Which is Harvard on a hill. I'm kidding. It's a community college right in the valley.
I don't
but I took a couple of courses to meet the criteria to transfer, and then one of them had to be turned out to be as an elective. I took theater. Huh? And I didn't think of anything. I figured in going there, young stupid kid, gonna go in there just play. And I had a teacher who Valerie was her name, Valerie Greer, and she was a wonderful like Broadway actress, a wonderful actress. She was in a wheelchair, so she had an accident, and now she was teaching. Wow. And so the first scene I ever did was a play by Lawrence Fishburne called Riff Raff, and it was a really cool play. It's still out there. I think they might have made it into a movie. Long story short, when I didn't know anything, what it was, anything. I just learned the lines kind of with my buddy. We went up there, and once I got on that stage, and kind of just my mentality was only how would I say these lines as me. But once I got a piece of the taste of what it's like to be in someone else's, playing someone else's character, living that person's life, I was hooked. Fortunately or unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, after that elective, so did you also like take further acting classes, or you were just kind of?
So I was this stupid kid. I'm like, I'm a good-looking kid. I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna knock on my door, being like, "Welcome to Hollywood." Great. So I got lucky just by sheer stupidity. I landed an agent and a manager, and then I went. My very first part was with Mary Jo Slater. She was a casting director, Christian Slater's mom. And it was for a project called Dream Team, and it was opposite of Martin Sheen, Academy Award winner. And I booked it just stupidly. Went in the room, just that I booked it. Flew me to Puerto Rico for 3 weeks, and I got to play like his right hand man, right? And I'm thinking, this shit is easy. I don't know what people are like worried about. What is this? And it was a phenomenal project. It was great. I mean, it was a great experience. The project went nowhere. Turned into like a TV movie. It was right before whatever. And then when I came back, I was like, all right, what's next? And I think it took me a good 3-4 years to land my next job, because I didn't know anything about anything. Not only was I not, I didn't know, I had not taken any formal training. So then after a while realizing, oh, my charisma or whatever it's not going to take me anywhere. This is an art like any other art. Then I got into class with Harry Master George was my first teacher. Was a phenomenal teacher, and Bernard Hiller and all these other people. And I studied and took a lot of Chekhov, Meisner, all kinds. I just tried to learn as much as I could about this art. And slowly but surely, I think 10-15 years later, I know about 2% of what I can towards this art of ours.
What was it like working with Bernard Hiller? Because I know him, and I took a private class with him. That's all.
Okay. Once. This was many, many years ago.
Yeah.
And his at that time, his claim to fame was what's her name? Cameron Diaz.
Oh wow!
That was so.
He had a lot of celebrities, like a lot of celebrity-driven acting coach.
Right. I mean, I studied also with like Cameron Thor too, and like that's someone else who's like crazy celebrity. I was like in class one day, and Britney Spears comes in, and I'm just like, okay, well, we're not doing acting anymore now, are we? This is just a whole.
Very right.
That's why
it's like a runway for actors.
Right, and that's why, not to jump ahead, but when I told you my main dude, my acting kind of like savant, Stuart Rogers, I love him because he's a theater rat. He doesn't give a shit about who you are, what you've done. He's like, and he has celebrities. He'll treat the celebrities the same way he'll treat a guy or a girl off the street just trying to learn what it is. So,
Yeah.
but to answer your question, Bernard Hiller, it was different. I think his method was like a Meisner kind of,
Mm-hmm.
but he had. It was good. It was good to just get out there and just learn a little everything. I had a huge guard up just to be able to break that down. You know.
Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
so you said 10 years ago. So we're talking about like 2010 or 2008, 2009 or something?
With Bernard Hiller?
No, when you started studying acting and like really got into it.
Yeah. I mean, I roughly, I would say 10, 12 years ago, around there. Yeah.
What
When I
did
took it
you-
seriously, go ahead.
What did you do before that? Like, did you go to college? Like, did you want to, I don't know, were your parents expecting you to become like an engineer or lawyer or doctor or something? Or
So I had a 3.8 GPA, and I was kind of on the, and this is going to come shocking to many Persians, but I was on the same path as to become a lawyer and a doctor.
yeah.
I know it's very different. And then once I took that class, I was like, I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, more power, and I probably should have just slapped myself and stuck there and done that. It would have been very different. But so I went to my mother, and I told her, I said what I wanted to do, and you know, God bless her. She goes, okay, you know, I got your back. Do it. You know, she's
How wonderful.
she was always very supportive that way.
Are you an only child?
No, I have two. I've been lucky enough to have two sisters. House full of women. I have a single mother and two sisters and a daughter. Yeah.
And how are you the oldest of the siblings? Like,
Yes, I am.
got it. And then you have two younger sisters. So were you kind of, you said single mother. So like, what did your parents like divorce at an early age, kind of a thing?
Yeah. So it was kind of a set up marriage in Iran many years ago, and then my mom left, and you know they came here, you know, as soon as they could, and my grandmother brought everyone here, and then I came in a little bit later. And my mother got remarried again, you know, to a wonderful man. But yeah, and my old man is, you know,
is he here or is he in Toronto?
No, he's. I think he's in Iran. I have not spoken to him. Should I lay down for this? I feel like this has become therapy now. Do I need a couch?
No, you don't.
No. This is good. This will save me a lot of money. And
I usually do my therapy setting up. I don't know why.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, always. Who lies down, dude? I would fall asleep. I'd be like, this is so relaxed.
Oh, I do a lot of crying, so I like to be in fetal position the whole time.
Oh, really?
With like with like.
No, I like to be in fetal position after it starts crying. First, I start vertical, and then I get horizontal.
And then slowly go into.
Slowly just pop up. Yeah, a lot of people say when they come on my podcast that is this a therapy session? It's like kind of like it's kind of.
That's awesome.
Cathartic and therapeutic. No, I mean, look, I feel
compliments to you as an interviewer to be someone be able to.
You're so sweet, and well, thank you for being so kind and so generous and being vulnerable with your, you know, with your story. I appreciate it. Yeah. You know what it is? I think, Antonio, like comedians, and I'm going to specifically say male comics are a lot more. We're an interesting bunch of people. I feel like when it comes to artists, like actors and stand-up comics, there's pain involved somewhere that drove you to do this.
Oh yeah.
I feel like if you, especially a stand-up comic, I can tell you, if you come from a loving, healthy background, right, there is no reason to do stand-up comedy.
I'm sure I agree with you 100%. And as far as the acting, I'm sure there are very healthy individuals out there who are actors. I'm positive they are, but the majority, including myself, are not. And it's just a lifelong process of trying to figure out not only who you are, and it may start just as far as a recognition of just trying to be seen, just needing that, you know,
gratitude to be heard. I think that's
approval, whatever it may be, verification that you exist.
That's right.
To later on to realizing, okay, or if you stick in it long enough to realizing, okay, and then you work on yourself, and then if you're gonna stick in this thing, how can I make this speak to me as far as an art form, rather than just a need for a gratification or need for a validation. That validation is the word I was looking for. Exactly.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, the other word for validation is love. I mean, if you just kind of scratch it a little further down, it really is love, right? It's about that love and attention that somehow, somewhere in your childhood, it was just not, that need was not fulfilled. And now we're using being artists or whatever, and in the meantime, you also get to make beautiful art. But thanks to low self-esteem and insecurities, a whole industry exists for that. And it's called Hollywood. I mean, that really,
and it can amplify those feelings as well.
Sure.
It can make it worse if you're not.
That's right. That's right.
Because this is not this it's not for the faint of heart. This business, it's get right so many rejections. So I mean, if you have any sort of ego of any sort, that's going to be shattered to pieces.
That's right.
Within you get 100 times more, million times more no's than you do yeses.
That's right. That's correct.
So,
and you said something very interesting during our conversation. I asked you, I was like, is your daughter interested in becoming an actor? Like, would you let her become an actor? And you were like, hell no. And I was like, how come? And you were like, it's so hard. It's a brutal business. So is that gonna be your? So what if she comes to you tomorrow and says, Dad, I want to be an actor? So what happens?
I mean, obviously, she's the love of my life. I would support her no matter what. But I would do whatever I could to talk her out of it if I can. But
wouldn't it be a little bit hypocritical, though, Antonio? Just a tad bit, though.
It's 100% hypocritical, and that's okay. That's fine, But I think, to be honest with you, we usually do what we try to do the opposite of what our parents, right? We go against that. So I feel like maybe she would. Probably not want to be in the business because of that, because of the fact that I was in it.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you that my family, I mean, first of all, coming from like a conservative Muslim Pakistani household, becoming an artist is not a thing. So let's just put that out there. Then being born after 4 brothers and then being the youngest and the only girl, no fucking way. Right. Are they going to be like, oh yeah, you just go right ahead? Like, no, that was not a thing. I mean, but I knew when I was like 8 years old that I wanted to be a performer. I just didn't know in what capacity it was going to be. I watched this one Bollywood movie, which I know is very big in Iran, and in all the Middle East. I mean, Bollywood is huge. And I remember watching this one actress and being like, whatever she's doing, I want to do that. Like, she's awesome. And it's funny because like I mentioned to you, I mean, I moved from Pakistan when I was 15, and I really didn't come out of my artist closet till I was 18. And that was a massive fight, but you sound like you got very lucky in the sense that like your mom was just like, yeah, go ahead. Like, if that's what you want to do. I mean, I had to literally pack up my bags and leave my house and move out in order to even pursue it, because my family gave me an ultimatum. They were like, either you go to college and become a physical therapist. I don't know why the fuck they were obsessed with that. Or they were like, we will send you back to Pakistan and mom and dad are going to marry you off to someone. Because my parents lived in America. They always lived in Pakistan. So they were like, yeah, we're going to marry you off. I'm like, marry me off? How the fuck are you going to send me like 7 goddamn seas across, like to make a better life for myself and then just fucking yank it from me like that? Like, no. Like, nobody gets to call the shots in my life except me. That's it. That's the rule. And when I was 18, I packed up my bags and I left. I mean, there's a lot more fucked upness to that story, but that's like the gist of it. There was a lot of physical violence at home, like a lot.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's probably has helped with you as an artist, as a comic, as an actor.
I mean, after like 13 years of therapy, which continues to this day, thank God for EMDR therapy. But it has kind of helped me not become a basket case. It's helped me become the person that I am and the artist that I am. But there's a lot of demons to be fought. Like, have you ever done a scene or done like even during acting classes where you're like, wow, that was that was like it just like kind of opens this Pandora's box for you of like feelings or things that you really didn't want to deal with. And next thing you know, it just begins to like pop up in your life in places where you're like getting angry at shit, or you're like having road rage, and you're like, why the fuck am I pissed? Like, what? Have you experienced stuff like that?
I think if you do any, by the way, is this echoing? Is it echoing on your end?
Echoing, it's like popping in a very strange way, but it's fine. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, good. I want to make sure to give you the best quality for your money.
You're the best, I mean, for my money, yes. But thank you.
I think there's always going to be some sort of residual, especially if you really truly get into a character, whatever it may be. So I think there was a play called Rabbit Hole, and it was about parents losing their kid that I did, and they made it a movie, I think, with Nicole Kidman or something, and it's one of those things that it like stays with you for months. It fucks with you, and just like, especially if you have a kid, and it's just like, it's the most fucked up. Can I say fucked up?
Of course you can.
Great. It's the most fucked up.
You can say whatever the fuck you want. How about that?
Good. Love it. It really is. It's like, but that's the great thing about these parts that we get to play. It's like you get to live, whether it's good or bad, in this other life, in this other form, in this character, and then you kind of give yourself up to the writer, however they've written it, and just kind of be able to live through them. So yeah, the residual can kind of last. I felt it in a good way, after a role, and I felt it in a horrible way, but still, even at its worst, it's something that's alive in you, and it just makes you feel alive, which is a great thing.
Right. Yep. Do you feel like acting not only is an art form for you, but also therapeutic in many ways for you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It is therapy. It absolutely is. But not just the acting part of it, the journey of it, of trying to make it as an actor, and the classes, and the scene work and all that. It's all one.
Yeah. I mean, I remember being in acting classes, doing certain scenes or doing like these private moments, and just walking away like fucked up. Like, I remember times when I'm like literally on the subway coming back from the class and just bawling my eyes out and just don't even know how to like control it. And but it's winter, so you like try to cover yourself up with like scarves and stuff, and you put your hat down, and you're like you're like fucking bawling out because you just got triggered by like all this fucked upness that was in your life, and now it's come to surface. But I feel like they're demons, and we as artists like try to control them for them to serve us, not the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, and you can, like we were saying earlier, you can either let it help you and find out what it is, what's the hole inside, to be able to patch and fix, or where's that hurt coming from, where's that insecurity coming from, and use it in your art. Or it could take you down further into, the spiral of it.
Yeah.
But those were, I think, to me, some of the greatest times of my life, where in class you work on this scene and just like it's killing you. The process has been
the process is, the process. So, because you being an artist, like, are your sisters artists too, or are they just
no? I mean, not that they're not artists, but they're not. Thank goodness, they're both much smarter than me. One is a nurse, and my younger one, who's from my mom's second marriage, she is in college. She's in college, and I think she wants to be like a nurse or a doctor as well.
Oh, awesome! So they took care of the medical doctor nurse part. So the pressure is off of you.
They're fulfilling the quota.
Yeah,
I'm the black sheep of the family.
This whole black sheep thing, man. I mean, I think the black sheeps run the world.
They can. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I think black sheeps are the. Anytime you hear stories of like I was an outcast, I was someone that they never look. I mean, all those stories are like of just people fucking just kicking ass and taking names, man.
Yeah. Right. No, the rebels. You're right.
Yeah.
Even Bill Gates was a freaking black sheep, I think, in a way.
Precisely. I mean, I
Right.
just I feel like black sheeps are dreamers, and dreamers make the world go round.
Right.
You know?
It's I agree with you 100%. It's, not to whatever, but in this field at least, or also in comedy, I'm sure you can agree with this.
Yeah.
It's easy to get in there because the dream, almost we all have the dream, but the percentage of it actually working out for you to fulfill that dream is so low, and it's so hard, and there's so many things going against you that it's just it can break your back. It can really
for sure
break your soul, so
did you so Antonio, your birth name is Ali Tehrani. So tell me about how you kind of ended up as Antonio Leon and why.
I love that name. Well, again, not to get into the psychological aspect of it, but my old man wasn't the best of whatever, so I kind of wanted to kind of get away from the name that he kind of gave me anyway. And how it happened to be at the time that with the acting, I was like, this is I got to figure something out. So I love that name. I think, to be honest with you, I think Antonio Banderas was like back in the day, was like doing the thing. I'm like, oh my God, that is cool. And
really?
he had the long hair, and I think at some point I literally had the long hair after watching Desperado as like a young kid. I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
Growing my hair. So,
man, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you were talking about how, so Antonio, and then where does the Leon come from?
It was a friend of the family's last name who I very much looked up to, so I kind of chose to take it.
And it was, and then you went to your agent and were like, "I'm Antonio Leon from this."
I didn't even have an agent at that time. No.
Oh, so you just changed it. You were like,
yeah.
When you were starting out and when you would go to agents, would they ask you your background? Would they say stuff to you like, "Hey, there's I can submit you for this role or that," or like, what would the conversation be like?
I think I kind of got lucky to getting that. They were just thinking, they look at you as, how can I make money off this person?
Right.
So if they thought they could make some money off you, or it is a business. But like the first couple agents I got, I signed with like Buchwald at one point. It was this wonderful man, Philip was his name, at Buchwald, and he stuck with me forever. And he should not have, because I wasn't booking anything, but he was nice. He was he was great, and he believed in me. And I started working with him, and it's just I don't think we really had a direction at any point. This is where we're going to go, but I think like any sort of as a manager or agent, you got to look as like a commodity. Like, how can I represent you? Can I sell you? Do I believe in you enough to want to push you out there?
Right.
I don't know if it works the same way as far as like comedians. I think you feel like you have enough of your own say where you can control your own career until, right?
Yeah. I mean, I am. I kind of, Antonio. I had some really nice manager, not so much agent, but manager in New York. They got me in a lot of good stuff. Because of a manager, I actually ended up in LA because I had read for a lead role in a Steven Spielberg project.
When was this?
In New York. This is like over 10 years ago.
Damn.
Yeah. I remember reading and then got like a call back or then I was up for this lead in a feature film. And I was, they brought me back for like 3 or 4 different producer sessions and they just couldn't make up their fucking minds. They kept bringing me back. I was like, okay, I'm back. You're making me do all these scenes. Like, okay, what the fuck? And then my manager at the end told me, and which is why I had quit acting for a while. I just kind of dropped acting because I was stage acting in New York for a while. And she told me the reason I didn't get the part, Antonio, is because I wasn't hot enough. End quote. Oh, I can't hear you. You're muted. You muted yourself.
There it is.
There it is.
Okay.
Oh yeah, this works. You're not your voice is not popping anymore. Oh,
I think it was these things.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, bugging the shit out of me.
It's okay. I honestly when she told me that I wasn't hot enough for a role, I was like, I thought this was about talent and hard work. And I was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm gonna put this acting stuff like away. Because I love stand-up. I love going up on stage. I love creating my own material. And I just I moved out to, she was like, look, you need to move out to Los Angeles. That's where all the big stuff is. I moved out here and all my auditions dried up. And I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to do stand-up. So that's what I did. I would like hit up 3-4 mics a night, like stand in line for like fucking 2 hours to get 3-minute sets, like whatever it took, right? Just to build that, the first 5 minutes, to build that 10, to build that 15, like whatever it took, right? And then eventually you're just like, you start getting booked on shows, you start getting paid for shows, and you're like, oh, you get paid for this? Right. I thought it was just drink tickets and weed. I thought we were just getting paid in weed. No, we're not getting paid in weed.
Do they pay in weed? Because I apply somewhere. Do I need to? That sounds great.
I mean, if you're a stand-up comic, yeah. There used to be this room they used to do up in the valley. One of my girlfriends used to book it, and it was like this private room. They would make you like the secret room in the back. Mm-hmm. They would be selling like bongs up front, but they had their own special weed they would sell in the back.
Wow.
And you had to have like a pass code to get in there. Right. And then when you get in there, they have this massive room. Everybody's like smoking up. I saw a pregnant lady there smoking up, and I was like, "Is that good for you?"
Very, very French.
Yeah, super French. They were doing dabs. You could do dabs. I was like, this is fucking weird. I remember like smoking their weed one night. This is a crazy story. Right. I remember going up there, doing a set. They paid me in weed. I come back down. I sit down. They have this really cool, like, this really cool bong that has like water, but you know, smoke it. It like, cause it evaporates, so it gets absorbed in your blood a lot faster.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck it. I'll just smoke some now, and then I'll just go home. Like, I'm going home after this. It's not gonna hit me that fast.
Oh boy.
Oh no. It hit me so hard, Antonio. I couldn't find my feet. I was like, yo, where's my feet at? Like, I can't find my fucking feet. And I remember just like looking down and then stepping outside, and I was like, all right, just breathe. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. I was like, if you just eat something, you'll be fine because you're probably hungry. So it's probably hitting you hard.
Right.
So I go to like a nearby, like a Burger King. That was the only thing that was open. I go to Burger King. I'm the only one there and this older gentleman. And I'm saying to myself, I'm like, God, this guy doesn't even know. Like, if he just hangs around for a bit, he can actually take me home because I don't know where the fuck I am. I'm like deep in the fucking valley somewhere. Right. So I'm like, all right. And I'm just going to eat this burger. I'm going to be fine. The more I eat the fucking burger, the higher I get.
Oh, no.
It's getting more and more absorbed in my blood. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what is happening right now. Oh, I was like, okay, you know what? It's okay. I'm just going to put my GPS on and I'm going to go home. Guess what?
What?
Mama didn't bring her charger and her phone died. How the hell am I going to get the hell out of this place? So I have like my windows rolled down and it's like cold. I have the AC blasting on my face, like trying to like keep me up. And I'm like driving, trying to find my way. Finally, I get on the 101, I get home, and my mom was staying with me at the time. So I come home, and the first thing I did is I opened the door, and it was like dark, and I fell right on my face, and my mom was crashed up on the couch. And she's like, what happened? I'm like, nothing. Go back to sleep.
I'm not completely high. No.
I'm fine. Nothing is wrong. I'm fine. And then next day I woke up and she was just like, did you come home a little high? And I was like, what? I was like, no. I was like, you go to sleep when I tell you to go to sleep. Go to sleep.
You're getting sleepy.
You're getting sleepy. I was like, you are not allowed to ask me questions under my own goddamn roof, lady. This is mine. I pay for this. This is not yours.
That's great.
But I think my mom
I'm a
gets
lightweight now these days. So like I'm like literally just one hit, and I'm just like,
really?
yeah, yeah. I'm crazy lightweight.
Really? Well, because you don't smoke that much. That's why.
No. No. My drug of choice is little vino.
Got it. How many vinos can you put away? How many glasses can you drink? And you're just like, I'm all right.
No, I kind of do this professionally, so I can.
You're a professional wine drinker?
Yeah, we're fine. I can.
I think there's a term for them at AA.
Yeah, it's called an alcoholic, but I mean that's still not sexy.
I think I would say functional. I would say functional.
That's true. Yeah, I like to wait till at least 10:30 in the morning before I start drinking.
That's fair.
Before that, it was ridiculous.
Listen, 10:30. That could be noon somewhere.
That's right. But to touch back on what you were saying in the beginning and getting those opportunities.
Yeah.
I think like I have a couple of stories like that too. It's when like you're almost too stupid to know how big of a room that you got into. Like the very first job that I booked, or I remember being very close, being on hold for a movie with Reese Witherspoon.
Wow.
I was supposed to play an Egyptian guy, and I got to like have a little chemistry test and all this, and I was just like,
wow,
shit. Or even Argo, the Ben Affleck movie, which was the wanted version.
Yeah, for sure.
And I went all the way, and I think what actually ended up hurting me at the end, not getting the part, was not that they're like, yeah, he's Persian. But is he Persian?
Oh, because of Antonio Leon. Yeah. Oh, shit.
Sit here. I'll talk to you. What?
Speak Farsi? Like doing
I spoke all day. Wrote, I can read, write, I can all that, I think. But again, it's fine. But having those opportunities, it's you don't know it. And like you said, you get at the end of the day, it's so out of your hand.
Right. Right. Right.
It could be,
a
look. It could be you're too tall. I've lost jobs because I'm too tall. I've lost jobs because I'll tell you a little funny story. I did a show called Get Shorty. I booked a recurring on that show with Ray Romano.
Yeah. That was on Showtime, was it?
It was on FX.
FX, rather. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I booked that show, and it was a recurring role for minimum 3 episodes.
Wow.
And I was going to play part of like this gang of this guy was a drug dealer, and I was one of the 2 boys. So it was me and this big Mexican dude was tatted up everywhere, just an intimidating looking guy who was a teddy bear, by the way, like the nicest in the world. And a black dude with a beard and a bulldog. So the first scene we're going to do, we're in this big mansion, and the 3 of us are sitting there, and they, I'm feeling good. I go to this in Larchmont over there. I like did my hair, trimmed the beard. I'm feeling good. I go and I see behind the camera, and I see the producers. The writer goes up to the producers, and they're all talking. And I'm like, oh God. And I'm like, as an actor, you get insecure. Like, are they talking about me? I'm like, no, you're just in your head. You're fine. They're not talking about you. And then I see them actually going like, I'm like, oh, fuck. Oh God. I'm like, okay. So makeup lady or a wardrobe comes and goes like, okay, get him a beanie. Okay, great.
Get a what?
A beanie.
A beanie, okay.
They put a beanie on me and go back to writers. Whatever. Long story short, and this sounds, my point of this was you can lose parts for whatever reason. They thought that I looked too clean and nice to be a tough guy, apparently. So they tried to toughen me up with a beanie and all that. And literally, they ended up, they didn't bring me back, and they ended up cutting that episode like around me, like trying to avoid me as much as they could, cutting to the other guy. So I was like, okay, all right, cool. So there's so many reasons. You're too tall.
I'm sorry, that sucks.
But it is what it is.
You still got paid though.
For that one episode.
For that one episode, because But their casting is the one who cast you. They knew what the hell you looked like before they cast you.
I tried this because it was echoing again.
Okay.
This is better.
No worries.
Yeah, they did. But I mean, you get on set and.
Man, that is so. See, that's the brutal part about this business. Like, here you are, busted your ass, got the job, and while you're on set, they're like, yeah, no. It's interesting you said that. You know, it reminds me. What's that show I did? Laugh Tracks. I did, and they hired me as an Armenian woman. You know, and it was a comedy show where they Am I echoing? I'm echoing.
I'm telling you, there's an echo. It's been the whole time. I tried this and I tried that. And the worst thing is trying to tell a story when you hear yourself echoing.
Oh, man. Oh, you've had an echo the entire time. I'm sorry.
The entire time.
It hasn't been echo.
I'm thinking.
I can't hear the
echo. As I'm talking to you, there's this echo. And I guarantee you, whoever's watching this going like, you know, he started out so good, but now there's and it's just me listening to myself, echoing as I am right now.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. I am very interested in knowing why that is, but you know, that's the fucking technical world we live in, man.
That's true. So you were saying they thought you were Armenian, and then what?
Yeah, they hired me as Armenian. Everybody was like loving what I was doing. And then so it's basically a show where the comedians go and tell their stories, and then the actors then they reenact the stories. Like we get as actors get to reenact them, but most of the actors they hired were also other fellow comedians. Mm-hmm. So there's this one female comic. She's telling her story, and they hired me it's a story about an Armenian woman cutting her off on the road. She's driving a Mercedes. And the Armenian lady's like, you cut me up because you drive a fucking piece of shit, you know? And she's like, lady, I just got divorced recently. Like, she's like literally breaking. She was like, oh, I'm sorry. She's like, oh, you got divorced? She goes, yeah. He's like, you tell that piece of shit to buy you a better car. Because, you know, if he's going to divorce you, fuck him. Let him buy you a new car. Something to that fact. And I remember, like, I think she was like the second AE, this lady. She was the second AE. And I remember her like looking at the director and being like, why is she hired as Armenian? Like she doesn't even look Armenian. Like, why is she hired? And the director was like, she's fine. She's doing a great job. She's fine. And I just remember them being like, almost losing that job because this lady seemed to have a problem with my look.
Right.
You know? So it's just strange, man. I mean,
which is it's a thin line because, you know, I'm all for, you know, as actors, as actors of ethnicity, there's so few parts out there for us anyway.
Yeah.
It's gotten much better nowadays, but there's still so many few parts. So I can understand if there's an Armenian woman actress out there going like,
sure,
why did I not get it? You know, and same thing for me and other people, you know, when I've played Cuban and I've played this and that, it's like, I completely get it. Yeah. Or what I've seen, and we've seen this, where I've seen someone playing a Persian guy or something on TV, and you're like,
sure.
And they have to speak Farsi, and you can tell they're trying to speak and they have no idea what it is because they're not Persian, they're like Arabic or whatever.
That's right.
Right. So, yeah, there's a part of you that goes like, oh, you couldn't fucking find the right person, but
yeah.
At the end of the day, it's like hopefully it's the best actor for the part.
Yes.
You know, rather than they have to hire a certain person, you know.
Yeah.
It's a thin line, and I think we live in a time now that to be politically correct, it's almost gotten to a point where now as artists, now it's all the studios and everyone they're very conscious of that fact that okay, we got to make sure, which is great.
Right.
Make sure the certain person playing a certain part is that part or whatever. But I mean, we got into this thing to be able to act, to be able to play other. Like, I don't want to just get into this and just play like who I am, or a Persian man, or you don't want to play who you are, a Pakistani woman. It's like the whole point is to be able to play someone that's not necessarily locked down to an ethnicity of sort.
Right.
Know?
Right. I mean, Antonio, you and I were also briefly talking about this on set yesterday, where we are clearly not in our 50s. We are like, you're getting cast as like someone in your 50s when because you're ethnic and they can't find people in that of that age range. So young people like you and I are like getting hired as older people, which is very interesting because then you look at the leads of the show, whatever, and you're like, the lead of the show is 10 years older than me, at least at the bare minimum. Yet I am playing somebody older than that person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, that's the ageism part of it. That's Hollywood for sure.
Yeah. Is that the ageism part, or is that the fact that they can't find ethnic actors of that age, so then the younger people have to end up playing those roles?
No, dude. Because as far as the older Persian actors, men, there's gazillion wonderful Persian actors that I've worked with a few of them.
Sure.
You know that lady, wonderful actress Shohre Aghdashlu. She's
I love Shohre. I've worked with her. She's wonderful.
Her husband, I worked with him on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh wow,
wonderful man, great, whatever. There's a ton of actors in that age who are just phenomenal actors who can do it. I think it's also they always cast younger to play older in TV. They have for many years.
Yes.
Which is good, but I'm with you. When I got this gig, I was like, part of me was like, wait, what? I'm playing. Oh, that's my ego in a way was kind of like, fuck you. I mean, I'll take it.
Fucking old. What the fuck?
Right. I'm going to take the job, but fuck you.
Right. That's right. I mean, you know what it is, Antonio? When I was in my 20s, I was getting cast as in my 40s. And I was like, I'm 25. Like, what the fuck?
Right.
I was getting cast like I'm in my 40s. And I think looking back on it, it was because they didn't really have like South Asian actors of that age range back then. So they were taking young people like myself and putting us in these older roles. Right. And I'm like, okay, so not really much has changed for me. My years just keep moving up by like 10 years or 20 years. The older I get, they just add another 20 on top every time I get older. But you know what it is? Honestly, this is not to sound ungrateful in any way. I'm very, very grateful for the parts, and I'm very grateful to work, and especially during the pandemic when, there are like fucking next to no fucking auditions.
Right.
And I think it's really wonderful and very blessing. Like it's a huge blessing to be able to do that. I mean, what, like you said that you also write, so you have like 2 projects you said that were optioned?
Yeah, I've written a bunch of. So okay, little backstory in this, and I think I told you. Remember, I said one of my dreams is always to be to pursue comic, being a stand-up comic. I love the comedy. To me, was a self-defense mechanism.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I like grew up in my younger days, in my middle school, early high school. I was like a short fat kid before I like sprouted up. So my only mechanism of trying to make it was comedy.
Yeah, you were getting bullied. You were getting bullied in school.
Yeah, well, yeah, comedy. Every comedy is the best self-defense mechanism there is. 100%. I also grew up with like watching sitcoms, like just like I love that format. The situational comedy, so I love writing that. I love being able to act in it. I also love writing it. So that's I enjoy writing that. So I wrote a bunch of different, like a few different sitcoms, and I made one of them called Bro Man, which is it was like the idea was 2.5 Men meets bosom buddies. It was 2 best friends going to Vegas one crazy night. They end up getting married. They come back, and how that kind of works out for them, and then it works out for them to keep this fake marriage because of the benefits of what it comes. So it was, I always love, and to this day, I think with everything that's going on, especially now, I enjoy being able to just put on something and just forget about. It doesn't have to be like a lot of people are like, oh, I need to. What is the point of this? the show and where's it going? I'm like, sometimes you just want to unplug, you know?
Yeah.
You want to watch something stupid, whatever that may be, whether it's How I Met Your Mother, Two and a Half Men, Big Bang Theory, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, you name it, New Girl, Seinfeld, all these things.
Yeah.
Comedy, we just like any episode you can put it in and just like take a few minutes off. So I enjoy that. So yeah.
But did you write this with yourself, as the lead? Because knowing that, hey, nobody's gonna write this for me. Like I have to create this for myself.
I did, yeah, exactly. I did, and I shot it. We shot the whole pilot.
Oh wow, you did.
Yeah, we did. We shot the pilot because it was going to be my vehicle too. I loved it, and I got to work with this amazing director, Daniel. He's a German dude who's like, you think German guy and you think not funny. One of the funniest people you ever meet. Completely got the script.
Wow.
And we shot this beautifully.
Wow.
I think the only problem was this guy does a lot of he's a very David Fincher style of a director. So my comedy was written more in front of a live studio audience, kind of a look for cam.
Yeah.
We combined these two into this genre, which people were like, "I love it," and it's crazy. We shot in a single cam format, but it was the way it was lit and the way the comedy. It was awesome. I think to be honest, I think it was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you guys shoot the pilot, and then what happened? Did you guys try to go and sell it to a network? Like what happened?
It got optioned, and then we went out to a bunch of different people at the time. So when this came out, this was a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
This is a funny story that you're bringing this up, because it's going to circle back to the ethnicity part. So this was a few years ago when Hollywood was very much just woke. Like, we're going to do everything we can. Everything is ethnic, and every show had to be a black this, a brown that, and a woman and a short and a handicap, and it was like just pushing it, even though when the script sometimes didn't even call for it.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the whole point of it was at that time was just to make. It was like, I think, second year of Trump's presidency, and it was just, we're gonna make sure that the ethnicity, which was awesome.
Yeah.
But this comedy that I wrote wasn't really trying to push the ethnicity part of it. It was just about two best friends. It was just a situational comedy. It was just It was just funny. It wasn't trying to bring anything in like LGBTQ, and it wasn't making statements.
Yeah.
That it was just trying to be funny. And so a lot of people, the reaction was, we love it.
Yeah.
But right now we need more of something that has to do with what it was 2-3 years ago. It was a lot of things. If you look back at the pilots, it was a lot almost forced to a certain point. You had to have something very unique, and not just unique, something very different to say. It couldn't just be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know that Hollywood has been very like, oh my God, we need to be woke. We need to like cast all this. And so sometimes it almost feels forced with few things. You're just like, this doesn't really go. Like, I don't know why you're doing this. This. I know you're trying to be woke. I know you're trying to, like, right now, the big deal is like three female directors have been nominated for the Golden Globes. And they're like, oh my God, it's historic. Now, I have a few female director friends, and I brought them on. We've discussed like what it's like to be a female director. I think it's like something stupid. It's like less than 3% of Hollywood is female directors. I mean, it's really bad. It's really, really bad. Yeah. And if you're a woman of color, you can just forget about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just forget about it. You're like all the way at the bottom of the food chain somewhere. But and they were telling me about how they go on set and are confused for being like, hi, are you like the craft person?
Right.
Are you the makeup person? And she's like, no, I'm the director of the show. Oh, okay. Or have situations where male actors pushing back because she's a female director and he doesn't want to take the direction from her. Right? And then she has to come out and be like, no, I'm the fucking captain of the ship. Like, you're going to listen to me. So I think it is a very interesting thing. I mean, have you ever thought about, like, getting into the director world, or you just want to kind of stick with the acting?
No. My dream is to. I directed my own pilot too, which was great.
Oh wow, good for you.
And to be honest, it was like the one day out of the shoot that I was just directing rather than acting in it was probably one of my favorite days out of that entire
Interesting
process.
Wow.
I love the writing side of it. I love the directing side of it.
Yeah.
Just as much, if not even more. So
Yeah.
my dream would be to like the guy we worked on The Rookie, for example.
Yeah.
Sylvan, this guy is a huge TV director. I mean, you look at his stuff, right? He's got 100 TV credits of like this guy's a pro.
Yeah.
You can tell. And I've been lucky enough to work with some amazing directors. And that to me is like something that I would love to get into TV directing. That's something I truly enjoy, especially if I would be able to do comedy even better.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, you and I were talking about, we're talking about being ethnic in Hollywood and, the whole woke thing. I feel, and I want to hear what you think about this, but I feel, it's one thing for Hollywood to come out and the executives to come out or studios to come out and give lip service. You'd be like, we want more female. We want people of color. We want to do that. But as long as the executives and the decision makers do not change, as long as they stay as old, straight, white dudes, we ain't going nowhere. Because even whatever stuff you bring to them, they can't see it because they don't come from that world. They're not, and it's not like they're bad people. Don't get me wrong. They're not bad guys. It's just that's not their experience. It's not their world. When you have a female, executive sitting up in Netflix, right? She wants to look, especially if she's a woman of color, she wants to see what the fuck I have to offer. She wants to see what Antonio has to offer. It matters. Being in positions of power matters. What do you think?
I will tell you a little story. I have a very, very close friend who works for a major studio. And this person, I'm not going to name any names for a studio, but this person told me at one point in the meeting, the heads of the studios sat down this meeting and they said, okay, we need to have a conversation about this. We need to make this more. We need to make our studio, we need to bring more ethnicity, we need to bring more people of color to the project. And it was, so this person was like, oh my God, this is amazing. We're having a conversation and we're going to move towards it. And the conversation was had, but nothing was followed. And when this person brought it up later, going like, hey, remember when we talked about that thing and we said we're going to do this and this and this and this?
Yeah.
They kind of got ousted in a way. It was one of those unspoken, but yet they felt like because they had the conversation, that was enough, rather than follow through with it.
Got it.
And the person ended up leaving
Got it.
that major studio anyway because of it. And they're so sometimes they feel like,
was this a woman of color by any chance?
No, actually, no. This was someone who was in a very high position to be able to add to this conversation. But this person has been a very big advocate of people of ethnic people and women, if it was a female, women of that. And so when she's like, this is amazing, let's do this. They're like, oh, whoa. No, we talked about it, but we're good. We're not going to do it.
Right. And that's the point, right, Antonio? The conversations that are happening on a more executive level in Hollywood are very different conversations that are happening, on the outside. Behind closed doors, it's one way, right? But when they come out and they give lip service and for the PR and to be like, oh, we're diverse, we're totally open, we're totally welcoming, and it's just like, yeah, but your executives are all a bunch of old straight white dudes.
Right.
What does an old straight white dude know about a guy who was born in Tehran, moved here, and has this amazing pilot, and is trying to bring you a new perspective? You're not gonna understand that, And it's not that you're a bad person. You don't come from that world.
Right. I think I agree with you 100%. I think it's starting to change. I think just the fact that you and I are having this conversation right now.
Sure.
I think it's going towards the right direction. It really is.
Yeah.
Again, like I told you, I've been in this thing long enough to see where it came from to where it is now, and it's exponentially different.
That's
in
right.
a good way. And hopefully it's going to get better and better. And I really think it will.
Yeah.
Because I think as artists, no matter what, the cream will rise to the top. If you do good work, it will be recognized. Whatever color you are, whatever gender you are, whatever ethnicity, it will be recognized. And I think the opportunities are more now, a lot more now. So I feel good about it. I feel positive about it.
I feel positive about it too. I feel like, Antonio, like, it's one thing to be a working actor, or it's one thing to, get co-star roles here, guest star roles, this and that. But it's another to have a show written specifically for Antonio Leon, right? And then casting him, in like as the lead in it, or having a show written with a character with Mona Shaikh in mind, or Mona Shaikh getting to audition for that lead role, and that show getting picked up and getting made, and then going on to season 4, 5, 6, or whatever. Those are the things. Like Mindy Kaling is a prime example. Mm-hmm. Nobody was gonna write that show for Mindy.
No, sure.
But Mindy realized very early on, because she's brilliant, that she was just like, look, nobody's gonna fucking give me an opportunity. They're just not. They expect me to be this skinny, pretty little blonde with a tiny waist, and she's none of those things. But she was very smart. She looked around and she was like, what are Indian people most looked at? Doctors. Like, there's a shit ton of Indian doctors. What if I just make a show about being an Indian doctor, but American born and raised, who doesn't speak with an accent, who is like American born and raised? How about that? And, the executives go, and of course, it probably also depends on the fact that she made these amazing relationships while she was on the show The Office.
Right. I'm just going to say, I'm like, that didn't just come. I mean, what is brilliant about her is, and this is something that I've read before. I think I read an interview by Judd Apatow telling Jason Segel, the guy like who was in,
from Freaks and Geeks, right?
Getting Sarah Marshall, all that. He told him in Freaks and Geeks, he goes, listen, look at you. You're tall, you're awkward, you're this and that. No one's going to hire you unless you write for yourself.
That's right.
And that to me is the only power, if you truly have, especially as far as great as much change is becoming in this business. Still, if you want to have your own show, if I want to have my own show, you have to write your own show. And even when you do, like I did, and you shoot it, even then, it's still tough. You can take them a show that's funny. You can give them an entire season layout. I wrote 12 episodes of this thing.
Wow.
I did. And every one of them, and I had from beginning to whole arc. And even then, for them to take a chance on it, they're afraid to do it.
Right.
Because they're like, well, I mean, are they going to invest all that money for what? Unknown, this, that. You have a lot going against you.
Right. I mean, and that's the difference. I once met this wonderful. She's a big shot at Netflix now. She's Indian. She's wonderful. I remember meeting her and introducing myself, and right away she was just like, "What's your information? Here's my email. Send me your stuff. Let me make some intros for you." And she did. She made intros for me at CBS. She made intros for me at Netflix. She was just like, "You have a show? Come on in. Pitch it to us. Come on in."
Great.
She is that person. So does it? I mean, look at the diversity in Netflix. I mean, it's fucking amazing what Netflix is doing. Yeah. Right? I mean, you see all these. They have a new movie come out on Netflix called Namaste Wahala, which is an Indian guy and a Nigerian woman, Nigerian lead. Right? Wow. When would we have ever seen something like that? It matters that somebody like her sits in a position of power to be like, you know what? I'd like to see that story.
Right.
I'm interested in that. Wow, I didn't know that Indians and Nigerians were getting together. I did not know that. I mean, I didn't even know that. I was like, this is amazing. But those are those decisions with those executives, they matter. And thank God now with all these streaming services, your Hulus and your Apple TVs and all these amazing stuff, it really is kind of shedding a light and giving us more opportunities. I think there's so many more shows now that there's not enough time hours in the fucking day to watch them.
Yeah.
There's like just so many of them. I mean, what is your kind of ultimate? I mean, do you want to become just eventually just like a successful director and just produce your own stuff, or and possibly get to act in them? Like, what's your kind of ultimate goal?
I think directing is my ultimate.
Really?
I would love to. Yeah, I think directing and then writing, and then I mean I love acting too.
I mean, you already write, Antonio, so it's
right. Right, but to be, you see, the ultimate goal for me would to be able to direct and write. I love acting, but I think as far as the process of it, as an actor, you go a lot of, as you know,
yes,
as we did yesterday. There's a lot of just sitting around and fucking waiting.
Yes.
And then you go in there. Now you've been sitting in your trailer for fucking 6 hours, and now you go in there, and I'm not going to say whatever, but something really dramatic happened that you're supposed to now bring it. And it's going like, okay, and that's great, but I love to be the whole part of the whole process of it.
Yes,
just be like put on dance.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of sitting around for sure. I mean, when you're on shoots, you show up at like your call times like 5 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
You shoot, then you're sitting around at like noon, and then you're like, oh, your next scene's not until for another 3 hours, and you're like, okay, all right, just go to the trailer and just pass out? Sure, just pass out. I mean, that's what I did. I just passed out.
I wish I could. I couldn't.
Yeah. No, I was exhausted, dude. I was fucking exhausted. I was just like, fuck this. I am like just gonna. Yeah, I just took a nap, which is shocking because I never take naps. I am the most anti-nap person on the planet. But yesterday I really needed it, so I took a nap. But no, I feel like just like we have more diversity in actors and comedians and all that, and directors and producers, it's the same on the executive level. Like that stuff has to change. It trickles down from the top. Like that's where it's trickling down from. Right. So those conversations are very important to have. I once, I'm not going to mention the name of the studio or the executives. The president of this very big studio was having a conversation, and I happened to just listen in on the conversation because they were passing by as they were saying this. And they said something to the effect of, there was a script with like 5 female leads, and they were all astronauts. And this person goes to this other executive. The other executive was a person of color, woman. And she goes, this is a great script. She goes to him. She goes, this is a great script. We should make the script. This is like 5 female leads who are astronauts. And the president of this very big studio says, nobody's going to believe that there are that many female astronauts. Right? So, like, what do you say to that person? Like, you're fucking ignorant? You're the fucking president of this massive studio. Like, what is she gonna do? Challenge him? Be like, you're fucking short-sighted. You're closed-minded. Like, what's she gonna say? Right? She also eventually ended up leaving the studio because she was just like, this. They just don't get it. They don't get it. And this is something that people are running into more and more. But I want to hear more conversations of that happening on an executive level. That's where it all happens. That's where the green lights happen, right? That's where I see an Antonio Leon pilot come to me and be like, I'm gonna green light this.
I think the trickle down effect this way now is going to be the other way around, where it's going to come up as artists to writers to directors to the people in the Netflix, and then eventually, hopefully, the person who is the executive of Netflix is going to, because their model is going to work.
Yeah.
Nobody really think about it. Networks, all the great shows are on Netflix and Hulu. So that's going. Eventually, they're going to realize that we're either going to adapt or we're going to die.
Yeah.
And what does that mean?
That's right. The smart ones realize that. The dumb ones don't, but the smart ones do. Yeah. The smart ones are like, evolve or die. I mean, that's it. Life only has 2 things, and that applies to anything and everyone, anything that's a living being. Evolve or die. That's it. Those are only 2 things that are happening as human beings for us. Yeah. Evolve or die. That's it. Those are the 2 things. So take your fucking pick. What's it gonna be?
I agree.
I know we're a little past 1 hour. I know you were wondering what the hell are we going to talk about for an hour.
I know. Good. This is good.
You never have to worry about that with me. I can go on for hours. I can go on for that's why I'm popular with the guys. I'm just kidding. No, I really enjoyed this conversation, Antonio. I really did.
Me too.
What do you got going on, man? Like, are you now working on a new sitcom? I know we're gonna start wrapping up. So, are you working on something new?
I'm writing away, trying to just learn.
Talk to me about why have you not had a chance to do stand-up comedy? I'm really curious. What is that? Is it fear? What is that?
Because I'm a scared little girl. You're
a scared little girl, or you're just scared? Period.
I'm just scared, actually.
What do you think is going to happen if you do stand up and it doesn't go? What do you think is going to happen? What's the worst that can happen for you?
I mean, I just haven't. You know what? It's not about that. It's about I haven't gotten there yet. I think I will.
Yeah.
Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. But not. I mean, like you said, now it's almost impossible to get in front of a crowd anyway.
Yeah, right now. I mean, there might be some like online. I know. I got booked on a show,
Right.
but it was like going to be an in-person show. But I've done some like online. There are like online mics. I think people are running, which might not be a bad start for you because you're not there in person, but you're online, so you can still have that kind of virtual barrier to just be like, that didn't work. All right.
Right. I also would not want to, like you said, you have having like a solid 5 or a solid 10. I would want to make sure that I have. It's a whole different writing, and I think you can agree with me. Stand-up writing than
it's just bits, Yeah, it's bits. And to me, Antonio, you sound, after just talking to you for a bit now, I have a feeling that you're a storytelling comic like I am.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's some of the best how people can relate to you.
Yeah,
right?
Stories, right? Yeah, storytelling. But don't even start with 5 minutes. Just start with like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You don't have to put all that pressure on yourself. Yeah. Just
next show you host, I'll come in there and give you a smile too.
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, I'm working on a very big show for the summer. We're like looking at a pretty big crowd. That because we're hoping that we're gonna have herd immunity by then and stuff. So I'll definitely keep you posted. Yeah, I mean, honestly, stand-up comedy is a very different animal. I think you kind of have to be wired a certain way. But the great thing about stand-up is, like, look, you don't necessarily have to pursue it as a career. You can do it for a little bit. And it's interesting because what stand-up does, it bleeds into other art forms. It bleeds into your writing. It bleeds into even your directing. It bleeds into your acting. It's just like it's a primer for other things. Like, you can just, because as stand-up comics, we get hired and they're like, can you write? Can you act? And you're just like, but I'm a stand-up comic. Like, that's all I do. Like, I'm just a stand-up comic most of the time. Like, that's what I do. And they're like, no, but can you act? And Mitch Hedberg has this really beautiful bit about it. Do you know who he was, Mitch Hedberg?
No, I don't actually know.
You should look him up. He was brilliant. He was brilliant. He was very hot too. But brilliant comic. And he has this whole bit about how, as actors, as stand-up comics, we get hired, and they're like, "Can you act? Can you write?" And you're like, I literally like have just spent all these years just being a stand-up comic, so I don't know why you're asking me for different skill sets. But it's I think stand-up comedy is literally the greatest art form. I
have nothing
the
but
love of my life, Antonio. It's the
nothing but respect for it. Like I said, I'm truly envious. You don't
need to envy me. You just do you just need to start doing some stand-up.
I got it. This might be the push that I needed.
Listen, and you want some guidance or whatever, I'm here. I'd be more than happy to tell you that you might feel like your soul is going to get ripped out, but fuck it. It's not really.
I'm all about facing the fears, so this is something that I definitely do want to.
Yeah, you'll lose sleep for a little bit. They ask people that what was the number one fear that most people have? It's public speaking.
Yeah.
Public people are like, I'd rather die than public speak. I'm like, Jesus, really? They're like, yeah. I'm like,
well, it's that old joke, right? About they'd rather be in the coffin rather than the guy making a speech in front of the.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather be the person making the speech. Like, being in the coffin, it's fucking over.
Right.
It's over.
But I mean, you've had this, it's that first step.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've known a lot of comics whom I've seen like in the past 10 years, 11 years or whatever. I would see them at open mics and be like, I don't know how this person's going to come out of this. I don't know if they have it. And then you see them after a number of years, you haven't seen them, and you see them and you're like, golly, look at your growth, man.
Yeah, I bet.
Look at your growth. You just kept at it. Good for you, Those are the stories that I love to say.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, same thing I think goes for as actors as well.
That's right.
You see people in the beginning, you're like, okay, shit. And then you see them years later, like, holy fuck, wow.
Yeah. Floyd Lynch is saying that you should go for it.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Well, I didn't know people could comment on this. Shit.
Oh, yeah. People have been commenting this entire time. Yeah.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah. People have been commenting. Tim Windsor said, congratulations, Mona. Proud of you. And then James said, hi, Mona. Hi, Tim. Mona got a part on The Rookie. James is a big, avid fan.
Okay.
He has been here he has watched every single one of my Mona's rants and my episodes.
Who's this?
James, the lovely James.
I'm sorry, James. I'm sorry you have to be put through this.
That's all right. No, James is a big fan. James is great. He's
awesome. In the mail, James. I apologize.
All good, my friend. All good. Antonio, this was a really fun conversation. I know you're not very big on social media, are you?
I'm on there. I'm on there, but
when I tagged the wrong Antonio.
What's that?
When I tagged the wrong Antonio.
You did. And the funny thing is, I clicked on that link and the guy in there. I was just picturing him going like, "Oh, I'm going to be on the post now."
It's like I'm going to be on some podcast that this chick has tagged me on. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. That's so funny. But yeah, I mean, do you want people to follow you?
Sure. I would love it. If it's again, like I told you, I think my last post was from 2 years ago, but I'll get in there.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know you're on Instagram, so what's your Instagram, Antonio, if people want to follow?
It's my name with the letter 1. Antonio Leon.
With the number 1, Antonio Leon.
Yeah. Antonio Leon.
Awesome. Well, Antonio, I had a really fun time chatting with you.
This was awesome. This was great. And to get to see you 2 days in a row and act and now just chit-chat, this was fun. And by the way, good for you. The one thing I will say in this business, I will take hustle. Like, as far as people, I've seen a lot of actors, and I'm sure you have with comics, who probably have so much talent. But in this business, the thing that you need more than anything else is the hustle.
Yeah.
And that I have nothing but props for you, because for you to do this and your stand-up, and every year trying to make sure that any chance you get to do as much as you can. And that is only a speech to you as far as where you're going to go.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you, Antonio.
I can't wait. I can't wait for us to get back on that show and play again.
Yeah, man. I just want to let you know that whatever I'm feeling like shit about myself, I will hit you up for the self-esteem boost.
Oh my God, anytime.
You've been such a cheerleader, so thank you so much for your kind words. You're so sweet.
My pleasure, of course.
All right, my friend. I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Thanks.
All right, take care. Be safe. That was the lovely Antonio Leon. I know you guys enjoyed that conversation. I know I definitely did. Even with the technical shit, who gives a shit? We got the point across. You guys, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. You can go on youtube.com/Mona Shaikh Comedian. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mona's Comedy. And of course, on TikTok and Facebook at Mona Shaikh Comedian. You guys, always a pleasure. Always nice to see you guys. What did James say? James said, thanks, Antonio and Mona. Fun chat. And then James said, I'm off to The Rookie to my Hulu watch list. Yes, what a great show. And Nathan Fillion, can I just say something? What a wonderful actor, wonderful human being. Just the cast is just lovely. Everybody was just wonderful to work with. So shout out to The Rookie. And thank you so much for having me and Antonio on the set. You guys, have a good night. I will see you on Monday, I think. Oh, you know what? Monday, I'm gonna probably try to do like an early cast, because early live stream, because I'm doing another shoot on Monday, so I'm busy with that too. All right, you guys, have a good night. See you soon.